great to be here in Ordos. I haven't been in the city yet, but I'll go there tonight. And hopefully, it'll be just as great as the track. But I'm really looking forward to race tomorrow. That's the main thing.
It's special, but I'm enjoying it. How you call it, an adventure.
It's fantastic for Super League to come this far overseas. It's great for the championship.
There's the checkered flag. 50 points for Beijing.
There was like an infection on my lungs. I had nothing left, absolutely nothing left.
100,000 euros goes to Liverpool. Fabulous win for Olympiacos and Neil Yarni. And there's the drive-through penalties.
What did I think of the drive-through penalty?
They've been warned and warned and warned. We saw in the background that they were going all four wheels off the circuit.
I don't know. I didn't realise that I crossed it, but they said I crossed it, so okay. But now I'm 10th again.
The front wing has gone completely from the Spurs car.
Craig Dolby has lost his front wing.
Oh, disaster!
Well, what can you do? You get a great start and then, yeah.
Anderlecht second, continuing a phenomenal run of form by Davide Rigon.
Vai Davide, go!
Fantastic for me to be in the top of the champion now. I hope to keep for the end.
Hello and welcome to Ordos in Inner Mongolia in China. I'm Martin Haven, ready to call the action. Round 10 of the Super League Formula by Sona and Gol, with the championship stacked fantastically in the final third of the season. Just 14 points separating our top two drivers. Any one of half a dozen could win it, and our reporter Abby Griffiths caught up with them.
As the championship hopefuls look to gain maximum points for their title challenge in China, they now have one extra factor to deal with. Valles is back. The 2009 champion has returned, this time driving for Sporting Club de Portugal, and as ever he has one thing on his mind: victory.
I don't need to show anything because I'm not going to fight for the championship, but I want to be in the top and I want to win some races.
Hey, I've got unfinished business with that last year's champion. I came second to him last year, so I'm out there to beat him.
He's clever enough to don't put any stress into the top three, so but definitely he's a good driver. We will see how quick he is because he's coming back. You know, we all have experience from the complete year. We will see.
And for the first time ever, the two Super League Formula champions will go head-to-head.
For him it's a little bit difficult for the first race of the year now, because everybody knows very well the car this year, so we have to work a little bit to improve. But for sure, I think race 1, race 2, we will see the champion of last year. So I think we can fight together, but for me, I have not to take a risk to fight with him.
I'm new in the team also. I need to check everything also. I know the car really well, so I hope we can do a good job. We'll really like to be in the front and, I mean, just win the race. I beat everybody.
Well, last year's champion Valles is an old hand at this, as is his team, but there are 4 youngsters who are making their debut on the grid this weekend, including this young man, Adli Fong, who steps in for PSV. And for him, like everyone else, getting to China has hardly been the work of a moment. The race in Ordos in China is Super League's first ever flyaway event. It represents a huge logistical challenge for the organisers, transporting everything from Portugal on Europe's Atlantic coast to the heart of Central Asia in Inner Mongolia.
We sent 17,000 litres of fuel by sea, which is timed to coincide with the rest of the flight shipment. We've now got 14 trucks here today that we're loading up through the night tonight. That's about 100,000 kilograms of air freight. There's about another additional 20,000 kilograms of freight going on a commercial passenger flight. We double stack the cars on the car racks, and these will be loaded into the belly of the plane along with the rest of the freight. And then everything gets there, we unload. We have one day to set up before we go straight into practice and qualifying on the Saturday.
Ordos, the venue for round 10, is the fastest growing and richest city in China. It's a major energy hub, housing a sixth of China's coal reserves and supplying 80% of the world's lithium. The magnificent Genghis Khan Mausoleum pays tribute to the former emperor of the Mongol Empire. And for the modern-day adventurers of Super League, racing in the East will be a very different experience.
It's amazing to see the response from people. I mean, just some people, I think they took 100 pictures of me and guys of the team, because they said it was the first you know, non-Chinese people they met and they seen actually. So it's interesting.
It's new for everybody, so that will give me an advantage because the other tracks I didn't know either and was okay. So I think now we're on the same level and the track looks quite challenging. Yeah.
I think there's going to be quite a lot of overtaking. It's quite technical, a few slow speed corners mixed in with high speed. So the chance to overtake is fantastic, and the long main straight as well. So perfect place for push to pass.
For two teams in particular, Beijing and debutants Team China, Ordos brings an added expectation.
There's no any pressure because everything is first time. So I just need to do my best and get the better position, then make everything good. I think this is what we plan to do. Yes.
It's a great feeling, you know, to have so many people watch you and want you to do well. But then obviously, yeah, there is more pressure, but it all comes part of the job, doesn't it?
All part of the job indeed. At least John Martin knows the cars. Ma Qinhua, the brand new man in the first time entry from Team China, it's a huge step up from him. So Martin's got the experience to handle the pressure perhaps. Let's see what he can tell us about this brand new facility.
This is a lap on board the Beijing Guan car. Coming down the front straight to start the lap into turn 1, you're in 6th gear, about 70 metres, brake, down 3 gears to turn in quite quick, and then the corner keeps on carrying on for a long time. Turn into 2 is quite tight, bit of understeer. 3 as well, you get on the power, so yeah, it's quite hard. Through 4, which is quite tricky, it's like flat on the entry, and makes braking for 5 quite hard. To hit the apex there nicely. To get on the power out of here very well. To up to 3rd, then back to 2nd again for 8. You can run all the curve on the exit there. This next kink's flat. There's rivers run across there when it gets wet. Braking for the chicane's quite hard, very easy to lock up. You can take a lot of curve there on both sides and a bit of dirt, which will be quite tricky in the race. Down to 11. It's very easy to lock the front right. Turn in, which is in 3rd, up the hill, slight back into 2nd. Very tricky on the exit, very easy to get a lot of oversteer. Flat through 13, this is my favourite part of the circuit here, in through 14, turn in flat out, slight lift, mid-corner. Back to 3rd, you can run all the curve on the exit. Then braking for the last corner is very, very tricky. The turn-in's uphill and quite hard as well. Back on the power and yeah, across the start-finish line, and that's a lap of Ordos.
Well, that's the theory at least. Let's see how they put it into practice. Before they get to race, first they have to qualify. Let's see if John Martin can put Beijing at the front of the field. Qualifying for round 10 started in the traditional manner with the draw. Drivers allocated into Group A or Group B for the first section of qualifying in random order. The big surprises in Group A after a spin by Roma leaving dirt all over the track. It's Tottenham who don't go through, second in the championship.
Roma had spun, so that messed us up, and yeah, qualifying over really.
Things were looking tough for Tottenham, but there was more surprises to come in Group B. A last gasp effort by Basel let them into the Fast Four, and that meant that points leaders Anderlecht would not go through to the knockout stage either. Flamengo topping Group B with a great lap from Andy Soucek. Soucek was in action in quarter-final 1 and swapping the commentary position for the FC Porto car. Up against him was rookie driver Earl Bamber. His first effort in qualifying had seen him straight through into the knockout stages, but Soucek made no mistakes. Flamengo were through. Robert Dornbos next up for Corinthians versus second-time driver Ben Hanley for Olympiacos. Corinthians started well, but a mistake at the chicane was his undoing, and Hanley pounced. He'd move on. Quarter-final 3, and neither team nor driver Franck Pereira at Girondin had had any sleep the night before, pulling an all-nighter to get the car ready. It paid off. Liverpool were never in this, and Girondin rolled out the easy winners. The final quarter saw Beijing up against Basel. John Martin really on a roll, 2 poles already this season. He's aiming for a third, and after topping his qualifying group despite a wild ride through the chicane, the Aussies' aggressive style put Beijing through to the next round. Searching now for a place on the front row and pole position. Heading for the finals, would it be Flamengo or Olympiacos? Well, early on, Souček's season-long experience in the Flamengo car looked to be paying off, but a couple of vital mistakes by the Spanish driver in the closing stages of the lap allowed Ben Hanley to pounce, and it was Olympiacos, the surprise package, into the final. Into the second semi then, who would join Olympiacos for the front row shootout? Beijing or Girondin? Once more, John Martin in the Beijing car attacking hard, and the local crowd favourite was in front all the way. Lack of track time in the end caught up with Girondin, and they went out. Into the final then, Beijing and Olympiacos, and there'd be no doubting who the crowd would be favouring. The Chinese side with lots of pace all the way through. It looked as though it was done and dusted. First and second sectors went in the direction of Beijing. John Martin had it in the bag. Oh no, Martin leaves his braking too late. What a mistake! And this is a chance for Olympiacos. They cross the line, and Olympiacos have pole position in Ordos. Well, what a result for Ben Hanley and Olympiacos. For the championship challengers, Craig Dolby and here Davide Rigon outside of the fast 8. They start 9th and 10th on the grid. Lots of work to do, but they've got 45 minutes in which to do it. And so too has new boy and ex-commentator Earl Bamber for Porto. Ben Hanley is set to lead them away. Let's get ready for the race 1 action. This brand new Ordos International Circuit, the venue for round 10 of Super League Formula by Sonangol, is 3.7 demanding kilometres, laid out to resemble the shape of the horses that have been the mainstay of Mongol nomad life since time immemorial. And starting on the front of the grid, Olympiacos with Ben Hanley claiming his first career pole. 4th consecutive front row start for Beijing. Girondin right up there 3rd, ahead of the fastest car in the group session, Flamengo. Corinthians and Liverpool on row 3. New boy FC Porto's Earl Bamber is 8th behind 3rd man in the championship, Max Wissel. Basel out in front of Anderlecht, the points leaders, and 2nd place car Spurs. Let's get ready for the start then. They are being lined up behind Ben Hanley. A few there from Spurs. And already there's contact. And that was Girondin. John Martin is in the barriers. Girondin, John Martin have made contact. Olympiacos take the start. The green lights are on. So away they go. But surely there's going to have to be a safety car. It's going to take them a little over a minute to get there. And a real drama for Beijing. John Martin thinking he had a great opportunity, and it was Corinthians that jumped early from row 3 of the grid. Robert Dornbos, so Girondin is there. Basel have come through the confusion to go up to 3rd position. In fact, we've got a 3rd car out there on the line as well. Let's take a look at this. Well, on board with John Martin, safety cars pulled off, and Martin, for some reason, doesn't seem to be going.
Yeah, maybe he's in the wrong gear. It goes slightly uphill, so it's really hard to see the green flag over there as well. So maybe he just missed the start.
Girondin in 2nd, FC Basel, great start for Max Wissel. He was in 7th on the grid, he's in 3rd. Liverpool 4th, Porto in 5th position. So Earl Bamber made it safely through the run up to the start in his first drive. There is Basel, there is Liverpool, and Porto coming down the hill. Spurs, well, he's made it through into 6th, ahead of Anderlecht in 7th place. So the top 2 in our championship, Liverpool, Tottenham and Anderlecht, 6th and 7th. Well, after the drama at the start, the drivers are going to have to really focus hard now in the first couple of laps. Tyres need bringing in correctly, otherwise you're going to ruin them. And so it's now really important to be as precise as you possibly can.
Exactly. As you can see, the track is quite dirty in some places. Oh, we see smoke. See smoke from a Liverpool car.
Yes, absolutely, and that is a major problem.
He's spitting a lot of oil.
He's going to leave oil everywhere on the track. It is enough as it is. Now, Fredrik Vervisch obviously knows he's got a problem. He's just looking for somewhere to pull off. He'd like to make it back to the pits, but that looks fairly terminal to me. He's offline. And let's get down to the pit lane and catch up with Abby Griffiths. Abby, who have you got for us?
Andy, what happened?
The race actually finished. The race finished before the start. I mean, I got hit by Dornbos. Hanley just accelerated too early for me. Then Beijing didn't react, so I had to go offline, and Robert just came straight, you know, with full power and hit me on the tire. Very, very strange. I mean, from such an experienced driver to get hit is a bit strange. So he lost, and I lost my weekend here. So.
Was it Robert Dornbos's fault, or was it the fact that Beijing had no drive?
I don't know why, but Beijing didn't accelerate for whatever reason. So I had to accelerate at some point. Otherwise, I would be 10th in the first corner. Hanley accelerated all of a sudden. It was very strange. I mean, they didn't behave very well.
Ben Hanley, the race leader, with Girondin de Bordeaux and FC Basel. It's really boiling down into a two-horse race already, Ho, because we've got our race leader here, Olympiakos. We've got Bordeaux right behind. So in the mind of the driver, you're leading now. You've seen all sorts of stuff happening behind you. You've just got to get away as quickly as possible.
Yes, exactly. And I think especially now after the problem Liverpool suffered, you can see lap time slightly dropping as well. So people being a bit cautious, being some oil on the track in several places. So tire management obviously is going to be very important with such a slippery track.
Beijing's John Martin is in the pit lane. Let's catch up again with Abby Griffiths, see how he saw it from row one of the grid.
No, well, I'm not with John yet because he's not back here, but I am with David, who is his engineer. David, we think there was nothing wrong with the car, so what was the problem?
Well, I think it was before the start-finish line, just as they were coming around the left-hand kink. You couldn't even see the lights at that point. So I'm guessing the guys behind went. You couldn't even see. The lights must have still been red at that point, and we just got taken out from behind. You know, the lights were still red. I'm absolutely sure of it. So you know, it's a pretty outrageous start, really.
Well, here's the view again from Beijing now. Hard to tell from the lights. I mean, you can't see the lights in the center of the steering wheel moving up as you would do normally if the revs again. It just looked like there was no throttle response at all. And I think we might find from the driver that that was the case. So hoping to, I mean, a phenomenally exciting opening to our first ever race here in China. But again, we've now got to get our minds, like the drivers have, back onto actually trying to win this thing. Pole position always seen as an advantage. And again, a classic indication of exactly why it is. Oh, and facing the wrong way is Sevilla. So Marcos Martinez having a problem there. And that was just on the run in from corner 4 to 5. Manages to get it turned round. Sevilla was in 6th position, and he's come back on in front, I think, of Atletico Madrid. So that's dropped him down to 9th place. And some of the cars already on their way back to the teams. It's not a fast turnaround between the races, but you want everything sorted out as quickly as you can. Now, down in the pit lane, Abby's caught up with another of the cars that we lost early on. Fredrik Vervisch, we saw him retire dramatically with a lot of smoke. Abby, what's the story?
So much drama so early on in the race. Fredrik, what happened with you?
Yeah, the engine blew up. So it's really a big shame because we had a pace, we made a change from yesterday to today. It felt good, and we had a good start, so it's a big shame. It's because it's improving every race, and it's not good because I don't know if I will make second race because there is no time to change an engine. So I think today for me it's over. That's a big shame.
Well, what a drama for Fredrik Vervisch, the Belgian, not having much luck there. And Craig Dolby off track as well, and that looked like a mistake by the driver. Oh, he's gone past Porto, so maybe it was a mistake by the Porto car, and looked like Dolby had jumped by him. Was that the blue and white of Porto behind him, or was that Anderlecht behind him? No, I think that was the Porto car, so Has Craig Dolby moved up a place? Looks like he's continuing happily. No, that was Anderlecht, so it was just him going off then, trying to chase Porto, and Anderlecht being caught by Milan as well. So in the AC Milan car, Jelmer Berman is closing up. Don't forget, Berman has his own championship aspirations. He's 4th in the points, just 43 off the lead with 50 for a win here. Replay with the Spurs driver. Hopington tightening downhill left-hander here.
It's a hard corner. You have to carry a lot of brake into the corner, and you can see it's probably just has maybe some rear locking, went a little bit wide and just on the dirt and lost the car.
The pit lane is open now, and so oil on circuit. We're hearing from race control, and in immediately comes Ben Hanley. He wants to get shot of those tyres and get fresh rubber as quickly as possible. And so Girondin de Bordeaux lead. Hanley the only man in the pit lane so far. So Basel have gone through as well. But what about the championship contenders? Spurs and Anderlecht, are they going to pit now as well? Or are they going through and going to run some more laps on the tyres?
Brand new tyres for Hanley.
Now again, he's got to really make the most of them. And this is difficult, isn't it, to try and balance as a driver. You've got to get the maximum grip out of them. Anderlecht are in, but you've also got to not overheat them, otherwise they'll be no good for the rest of the race.
Exactly. If you push them really hard in the first... we see overtaking.
Oh, and that's Galatasaray with Atletico Madrid right behind them. And Atletico were in front as they crossed the line, so Galatasaray making that pass. So we've had several stoppers, and Milan have picked up 2 places. That's Milan in front of Anderlecht, and in front of Spurs haven't. Yeah, Spurs have come in, and Sevilla come out as well. So I think Spurs got out, but Milan, it looks like, have jumped Anderlecht in the pit stop. It looked fairly confused there from our pit camera view. So Girondin lead. Olympiacos in the pits, that makes Basel in 2nd place. And here is Girondin, clear view in front, and into the pit lane he comes. Now we'll have to see how this balances out when he comes out, how Ben Hanley's outlap has gone compared to the pit stop for Girondin. Will the French team be able to turn their man round in front? Very, very dusty in the pit lane. Again, absolutely brand new. This is the first major race here. There's only been one race weekend last weekend where it rained heavily.
Oh, some problems.
Oh, that's a disaster. Even a second is going to lose you a position in a race this close. Basel are in as well. So the top 2 on the track, both in together. That's a very quick stop. And Max Wissel is going to be right on the heels of Girondin. Yes, Olympiacos lead. So Girondin 2nd, Basel in 3rd, Olympiacos with a bigger lead, and Girondin with trouble from behind. And a 1:30.36 for Ben Hanley, his first flying lap. Confirmation that is the fastest lap of the race so far. And we'll have to see what Girondin can do, but it certainly looks as though the Olympiacos team once more are in the ascendancy. But here's the battle for 2nd then, Girondin de Bordeaux and FC Basel. And Basel didn't have the pace of the front runners before the pit stop. Hopington, it looks now as though Max Wissel in that multicoloured Basel car is really looking for a pass somewhere.
He's really pressuring Pereira in the Bordeaux car. And it's quite hard to overtake here. I guess this is one of the only places, if you're going to use a push to pass, which is Basel is using now, you're going to have a good shot on the first corner. He's got a really good toe. Chooses around the outside, but I think he's got enough speed to outbrake him on the outside, as he does. Brilliant move, nice move.
Very well timed as well. And you think, okay, well, why doesn't he break up the inside? You know, Franck Pereira there defending the inside line, but of course, all of the grip is on the racing line, and already Max Wissel in the Basel car had that, so Bordeaux wouldn't have stopped if they'd brake late. Robert Dornbos, one of our first lap problems, is down in the pit lane. Let's catch up with him. Abby, what's he got to say?
Well, it's quite clear. I mean, Ben made a really good start for pole sitter. I think Beijing just lacked the response. So Frank anticipated well, so I went with Frank and then Ben. And then I think Flamingo hit my left rear and went up in the air, and Beijing we crashed. You know, it's so unfortunate, but these starts, some people still don't seem to understand the rolling start. You know, you go together in a foul and not one by one. So that's it.
Watching from Atletico Madrid, familiar sign of the driver changing gear, the flipper fingers, just the paddles behind the steering wheel. No manual gear change here. Confirmation then, the drive-through penalty. When the team owner is summoned to race control, you know that there's a penalty coming. So Girondin will serve a drive-through on the push to pass. Atletico, yes, goes steaming around the outside of Galatasaray. Giacomo is not giving that one up. He likes to race hard and close, doesn't he?
He does. It was really well timed from Atletico, because if you use one of your push to pass, it means the lap after you can't use. So when Galatasaray used theirs, Mendes knew that the lap after he would have a good shot. Oh, that's a nice move.
Wow, he's taken advantage. He knew that the Galatasaray car was not comfortable down there into turn 4, so he's taken advantage of that and really forced the issue, hasn't he? So he used the push to pass. That didn't work to get him through. Well, there's a good move by Julien Jus, runs out wide and allows the leader to go through. He knew that it wasn't China, so he knew clearly it was somebody he needed to let go.
Exactly, and now I think China's going to do the same at the end of the main straight, let Basel through.
Well, Basel has the best opportunity here now to go by. He's on the push to pass. Olympiakos as well, trying to clear the traffic and leave him behind. And Basel fast running out. He's just got 2 shots left, Max Wissel. But if he gets a chance to close on Olympiakos, one of those might be all that it needs to win the race. Abby is down in the pit lane and she's got our defending champion, Adrian Valles, with her.
Already yesterday in the qualifying, we struggled a lot, and today we had a problem with the gearbox, so I had to retire because the gearbox was not working, so I couldn't downshift or upshift, so I just had to retire in the middle of the track. So.
Now, as it stands now, Anderlecht will have 608 points. The gap to Spurs will be just 10 points. And Basel, they are just going to lose a little to each of, close a little, in fact, to each of the guys in front of them. But Olympiakos will leapfrog Milan to go up to 4th position, confirming that they are very definitely still championship contenders. Olympique Lyonnais are in the garage, so that is very bad news indeed for them. I'm afraid Tristan Gomedy retiring towards the end of the race. But Olympiakos, well, they are going to definitely jump up ahead of Milan here. First win in the car is just a few corners away for Ben Hanley, and Olympiakos returning to winning form with Chris van der Drift. They already had pole and victory in race 1 at Zolder. They won the super final in the Nürburgring and in Harama. They won in Assen, and now Olympiakos win in China. First race in Ordos.
Excellent job, Max. Ben, excellent job. You've done an excellent race, Ben. Congratulations.
Well, I don't think there's anything we can add to that. He has done a superb job. Superb too for Earl Bamber in 3rd place, out of the final corner. Climbs the hill towards the checkered flag, and he takes a fantastic podium result on his first appearance in the car. Not bad at all, but not all commentators can drive like that. Confirmation of the result then, Olympiakos winning it from Basel and Porto. Good points for Basel, good points too for Spurs and Anderlecht, 4th and 5th.
Ben, we spoke before the race, you were just so calm, but there just seemed to be a little secret confidence, and what a performance.
Yeah, it was great, you know, I don't know what happened at the start. Row 2 had a disaster, I think there was a crash. So I got a quite clean getaway, no pressure. I think it was Pereira, the first couple of laps pushed me quite hard, so just made sure I didn't make any mistakes, and then the guys did a great pit stop. And then from then on we were just, we knew the tyres would be a problem, so I was going quick and slow to try and save the tyres but maintain the gap, and in the end it worked, and it was a fantastic result.
Well, the top 3 will start at the back of the reversed grid for race 2. Can any of them finish on the podium again? Only one way to find out. Round 10 of Super League Formula by Sonangol from Ordos International Circuit, Inner Mongolia in China. Race 2 coming up with a full reverse grid, meaning winner of race 1, Olympiakos, start right at the back. Before the race had got underway, don't forget there was this major clash between the front runners. Beijing and Corinthians were the 2 cars most badly damaged. In the pit lane, Robert Dornbos hoping that the race against time from the mechanics will allow him to start the race from the pit lane, but there is worse news for John Martin and Beijing. He is unlikely to start. Our reporter Abby Griffiths is with him now.
And with John Martin, so many hopes of the local Chinese fans were rested on your shoulders this weekend, but John, you're here on the grid minus a car.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just way too much damage to get the car out, so it's yeah, it's done quite a lot of damage. So all the front end's destroyed, the steering rack, a bit of the rear as well. So it's a shame for something so stupid that shouldn't have happened in the first place. It's entirely not our fault. But anyway, that's the way it goes, I guess. It would have been nice to potentially win a race in front of home fans, but not to be.
So Ordos has produced bright and sunny weather and fantastic action in race one. Retirement early on for John Martin, Robert Dornbos, and the Flamengo car of Andy Soucek meant they are starting on the front of the reverse grid. Beijing and Corinthians should be row one, but both have problems. New engine for Frederick Vervisch, but we understand he may have problems, as does Galatasaray's rookie Giacomo Ricci. A cracked gearbox may prevent him from starting race two, but Team China in 8th have got a great opportunity to shout for the front row. So Adderley Fong, PSV, another Chinese driver, 10th on the grid. He too has a good chance to finish well up. And what about the guys who finished strongly in race one? Well, our championship leaders start 15th and 16th position. Behind them, 17th and 18th on the grid. The podium finishers, Earl Bamber for Porto, and third place man in the standings, Max Wissel. Our race one winner will start 19th and last. Olympiakos' Ben Hanley. Poleman closest to the camera now. This is a much better looking start. The red lights remain on until we are happy that it is safe to go. Still red and away they go. Everybody will be on the push to pass immediately. Almost the entire field on the push to pass. 3 wide, 4 wide. Chasing down into the first corner. Sporting Club de Portugal, Adrian Valle stays wide on the outside, and it is Flamengo that have the lead. Liverpool challenging on the inside, trying to go for second place. And Milan didn't seem to make a strong start there. Everybody safely through. Galatasaray among those that have to take to the runoff area. So Olympique Lyonnais picking up a position on board with Earl Bamber. And a couple of locking wheels. The track is very cold. The tyres will not be fully up to temperature. And Sporting Club de Portugal down the inside and contact further back. Somebody's lost a nose. And is that Liverpool off in the gravel? I think it may be. Massive lock-up. Olympique Lyonnais have lost a rear wing. So somebody has gone over the back of Olympique Lyonnais. We'll pick that up in a moment and see what happens, because Olympique are going to be really struggling without that rear wing. It may be repairable in the pit lane, but their race is gone. And Craig Dolby in 4th position. That's a great start, and just everywhere you saw FC Basel scrabbling it at AS Roma. Julien Jousse's race weekend goes from bad to worse. AC Milan on the push to pass, lit up red there in 8th place, chasing Team China, and he's got by him. That's Milan in front. He passed China with the red and yellow colours. So change for 7th position. Milan really on the charge. Goodness me. Yelmer Berman attacking hard, and Dolby in trouble. He spins out down in corner 16. Has he got the engine still? Yes, he has. Can he escape the gravel? Yes, he is going to. Wow. Swarming across the line at the start. Liverpool looking to the inside, Flamengo holding the line, Portugal around the outside, the green and white car on board with our commentary colleague. Down the inside went Bambi, and there was drama for Craig Dolby. There's no grip at all offline. Corinthians coming in after 5 laps, changing a tyre. It's shredded right rear tyre. So started from the pit lane. Now again, looking back at the chicane, here is our race leader, Andy Soucek, dialing in the oversteer. Liverpool's Frederick Vervisch keeping it neat, and Soucek spun it away there. That was the lead. Sporting across the line in 3rd. Here's the battle for 4th. Basel is on the clean side of the track. This is where the grip is. Atletico have to bear that in mind. They do, and another great battle behind. And again, Ben Handley was attacking there. Olympiakos did not get by Flamengo, and Milan right there. So 3rd goes through, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th positions all together. Liverpool are race leader despite making a mistake and spinning. Let's have a look. He had a 6.7 second lead. This is the chicane that cost Flamengo the lead. Same problem, drifting out wide. Well, he just drifted off the track there. managed to keep it on without spinning around, so less damage done than Flamengo. This is our race leader then, no mistakes, away he goes, and make sure you don't speed as well. You've got to stop in the pit box. Max Basel comes in very cautiously. That is covered in concrete dust. It might as well be a sheet of ice, the pit road, because it is so dirty. And Basel get back behind Sporting Club de Portugal. No, in front of Sporting Portugal. So Basel make a pass in the pit lane. But our race leader, car number 18, Sevilla, Marcos Martinez, and the crew are getting ready for him now. In he comes. Last gasp. Now then, very slippery here as well. On the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes. Don't break the speed limit on the limiter button. Crawls down the pit road, and again, early onto the apron, and slow down early as well. That man in front, very vulnerable. You want to stop right by the air guns, or that's going to cost you a second or two as well. So Sevilla hand over the lead. Liverpool were a long way behind, but where is Sevilla going to come out? Liverpool already across the line, they lead. Can Sevilla take second position? We're looking for the car of Max Missel and FC Basel. He's coming down the pit road, and Basel are going to go past. So too are Flamengo. So too are Sporting Club de Portugal around the outside until he feeds in just in front of Olympiacos. So he comes in 5th position then from the lead, Sevilla. And I think they spent too many laps out front, gave away too much time, and Olympiacos having a lunge immediately. Sevilla on fresh tyres, but they're not quite up to temperature, and Ben Hanley now out on the dirt on the outside. Hanley doesn't mind racing wheel to wheel. He comes from karting. He's recently been karting in the World Championships again. Sevilla had a little touch. Hanley drifted out wider there, so Sevilla hang on. Or what do they? Olympiacos right behind Sevilla still, and the queue is joined now. There's Girondin, there's Milan, there is Anderlecht, there is Atletico Madrid, there are Spurs. They are all closing up behind this battle. Well, that gives Sporting Club of Portugal a chance to run away. Sevilla, all arms and elbows through the chicane. Here's the onboard then from Sevilla. And Ben Hanley around the outside. Olympiacos eased out onto the dirt, came back on. Momentum there around the outside, though. Sevilla on the dirtier side of the track, but Ben Hanley couldn't hold the tighter line into this tightening left-hander. And so drifting out wide on the outside. And Sevilla now trying to pull away a little from Olympiacos. Oh no, hang on a minute. That's Olympiacos in front, I think. Has he made the pass? Yes, he has. Sevilla is behind, so Olympiacos has got through. Didn't see it, but Ben Hanley is now up to 5th position. So, oh, and across the grass goes... Oh, well, grass, more sand trap. Across goes Girondin and spinning out. Somebody spun in the middle of that. They're up in the barriers. Who are we missing? It's Atletico Madrid. He's lost his nose as well when confusion reigned there. Everybody checking up, and Bruno Mendes has lost his nose, and the steering's broken as well, or the suspension. One of the track control arms has gone. He can't get the car to drive. Time to park it there, Bruno, and escape round the barriers. Well, let's have a look. Olympiacos got in front of Sevilla. Girondin jumping the chicane. Atletico come in behind. Drift out wide and spin. And Bruno Mendes back in the pit garage. It will be the last lap. The checkered flag will be out next time round for Liverpool, but he's got over 10 seconds in hand. He can deal with China at his leisure without having to worry about Basel and Flamengo. Now then, the battle for second. FC Basel, 1 push to pass left. Flamengo with 2. Where are you going to use them? Come on, it's the last lap of the race. Flamengo have got to try and do something. I'm amazed Andy Soucek wasn't on the push to pass at the start of the last lap, because there's not room at the end of it to make good advantage of it. Then Olympiacos and Sporting Club de Portugal, 4th and 5th, on board with Liverpool, and he wants to make sure there are no miscues here. Don't forget, robbed of a finish even in race 1 when the engine let go. He does not want to trip over Team China. He's got time in hand. It was 9.3 seconds first to second at the line. Liverpool makes the move through. So he passes Team China safely. And no dramas now, surely. The clock has run out. 45 minutes have been completed. We are on lap 29 of the race. It will be the last. Sweeping downhill behind the pit lane for the last time. Liverpool comes, and Team China improving with every lap. Fastest lap of the race from Olympiakos, a 1 minute 30.7 on the last lap, but it's going to be victory for Liverpool, victory for Frederik Verbisch, who claimed the super final win last time out in Portimao. He claims his first main race win. Engine change rapidly between the races. Then he had an oil leak on the grid, but he ends up on top of the pile. He wins it from FC Basel's Max Wissel and Flamengo's Andy Soucek, the early race leader. Race 1 winners, Olympiakos and Ben Hanley in 4th position, and the championship leaders, Anderlecht in 8th and Craig Dolby in 10th place for Spurs.
Frederik, it's a great story. Anthony Reid, your manager's behind you. He didn't know whether to take you on. It came as a recommendation from an engineer. The super final gave you this seat, and now you just come out and got your first race win.
Yeah, I'm really happy to win, because we were not sure if we would be in the next race, and the guys did a great job to build a new engine in, and yeah, really happy.
Max Wissel is the top point scorer. Even my maths is good enough to do that. 2nd place in both races. What a result. 90 points. Olympiakos, Ben Hanley, just 4 behind him. Race 1 winner and 4th place here. Anderlecht go through into the super final, as do Milan, Girondin, and my goodness me, FC Porto. Commentary boys come through well, hasn't he? He goes into the top half dozen. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I would ever come motor racing in Mongolia. And yet here we are on the grid for the super final of Superleague 2010. And Max Wissel leads them around. He takes up the slot on the staggered grid. He is on pole. Red and white is Olympiakos. Anderlecht behind, the dark purple and white colours. Then Milan, black and red. Girondin de Bordeaux, the French blue, and the mid-blue of FC Porto. So representatives from Switzerland, Greece, the Netherlands, Italy, France and Portugal, away they go. A great start from Basel, a great start too from Anderlecht on the outside. Will Olympiakos let him through? Contact! Ben Hanley under the back of the Basel car. Both drivers are okay. Hanley throws his head in his hands, and who else is out? That is Anderlecht. Anderlecht are out as well, so who remains? Milan lead, Porto in 2nd place. In my ears, in the TV truck, they're shouting, "Go, Earl, go!" Fantastic, and behind him, oh, real drama. Girondin struggling to hold on to the car. No, this is too much of a fairy tale. No, in his wildest dreams could El Bamba possibly have thought that this might even happen. Let's have a look then, and it's the dirty inside line that may be at fault here. Ben Hanley, you saw him brake, the car twitched but did not stop, right underneath FC Basel. No championship lead for Basel, no money for Basel, Hanley or Anderlecht. Basel trying to keep the door closed, bang, up in the air and into the gravel. Ben Hanley walks away looking accusingly at the car. Was there a failure? Well, Milan lead. Game on. Big lock-up from Girondin. Milan across the line. No pit stops, no other dramas. This is Milan's to win. Jelmer Berman started the weekend on the back foot, lost lots of track time, and he has been making up time all the way through. Porto, don't forget, first time ever in the car for FC Porto's Earl Bamba. Never so much as sat in the car for a seat fitting before qualifying and free practice. So he's doing a fantastic job no matter what. He will win the team money, top 3 win. So at minimum, the team will get a cheque for €50,000, even if he only finishes 3rd. Well, Ben Hanley shakes his head. There won't be much communication between him and Max Wissel, I don't think, maybe for a day or two, although we are all flying together, so there may be a few quiet words spoken at the airport. Before that, though, we have still got 3 more laps of the super final to decide. Milan led by 1.8 seconds at the end of lap 1. There's nothing in it now. That's 1.8 car lengths. That's more like half a second. Porto are bringing the pressure to Milan. You saw hard work on the steering wheel there, and again, from the opposite lot being dialed in, you can see how aggressively he is attacking Earl Bamber. He is going to win this one if he has any opportunity. Fantastic stuff. Oh, and Girondin dive to the inside in corner 16 under braking. Girondin de Bordeaux up to second place. Now, he's been rehearsing that move. We saw him lock up a couple of times, but here comes Earl Bamber. He's pushing hard. Bamber's in the slipstream. He's going to go around the outside. He's on the clean side of the track. Milan are defending as well. Lock up from Earl Bamber. Keep it on, Earl. He's going around the outside. The graphics department behind me, the timing and scoring people are jumping up and down. He's still around the outside. He's still in second place. Girondin attack again. This is just like mud wrestling. It's so slippery out there now. Girondin back up into second place. This will not be done before the checkered flag. Nothing is decided. The track is so slippery. The tyres are now so dirty and tired after all the scrabbling around. Not one of these cars is driving the same from corner to corner. Well, the fastest lap not set by Anderlecht, surely. Oh, yes, they are. Anderlecht are still going in fourth place. 131.3, but it's all about the lead. It's all about the money. Milan, Girondin and Porto. Who is going to take this? I don't think I can stand any more of this. Massive lockup from Milan. Girondin around the outside from Pereira wants this. Here comes Earl Bamber, tries to get wheel to wheel, but the right hander favours Pereira at turn 12. But now they go over and down the hill around the outside. Okay, Earl, re-gauge the situation. Here we go. Girondin are going to attack Milan. If Earl sits where he is, he could end up winning this as the others take each other out. It is so dirty, even online now. Massive opposite lot from Earl Bamber. Milan and Girondin, and in the background, here come Anderlecht, flying up behind. Anderlecht 8.1 seconds behind at the line, and now within a second or so, because these guys are going so much slower. On board with Porto in third. It's Milan still from Girondin, from Porto, but Anderlecht from 8.1 to 1.4 seconds behind. It's going to be a four-way scrap, and somebody is going to come up empty-handed. Girondin with the lead. Milan in second, Porto in third, Anderlecht in fourth place. Here comes Porto. Milan with dirt on the tyres, can't get grip on the exit. Porto have got the line going into turn 5. Yes, he's got the move up into second place. Can he hold it? Yes, he can. He's up into second. Milan were leading at the line. They're down to third. And here come Anderlecht from behind. Davide Rigon, the champion. Now, can he do anything about it? Girondin, has he got the fastest car from Pereira? Earl Bamber up into second place, but Girondin jumping away, and here comes Anderlecht on the dirty side of the track. Milan drift out wide. Anderlecht up to third. Anderlecht knocked off in the first corner, might yet have a chance to win this. This is lap 4. One more to go. Girondin de Bordeaux about 3/4 of a second in front of Porto, and Anderlecht coming on like a steam train. He's got afterburners fully lit. Davide Rigon in third place. Earl Bamber is going to have to be very cautious here. The teams are going mental. There's Anthony Reid placid in the centre. Girondin de Bordeaux leading. Girondin run by the Azerti team from Italy. Second place, FC Porto. Earl Bamber run by the ATEC Reid organisation. And in third place is Anderlecht. Well, we're being told that Bordeaux started in the wrong position on the grid, so the stewards might need to look at that. So this might go to a countback. Bordeaux lead. He's pulled out a 1.8 second margin. Last lap then. Here we go. Bordeaux, Porto, FC Porto, yes, in second place, and Anderlecht still in third. The gap was 1.1 seconds between Porto and Anderlecht, and Milan cruising. He's got problems. Hjalmar Berman must have thought that all his birthdays had come at once when he was leading the super final after 3 laps. But Milan struggling. They won the super final in Magny-Cours, third in the Nürburgring, but no luck here. Girondin de Bordeaux leading on the last lap. FC Porto's Earl Bamber in second place, being attacked now by Anderlecht and Davide Rigon, the former champion. Girondin have not made a super final before now. Can Franck Pereira win this in their first appearance? It looks like he can, and now all the cheers in the TV truck are, come on Earl, hang on to second place for Earl Bamber. Anderlecht in third position. We're not favourites at all in any way. We are just watching one of our colleagues for the season racing here in the super final. Out of the penultimate corner though, Girondin will take this one at the line. Porto have done enough for second place. It'll be victory and €100,000 for Girondin de Bordeaux in their first ever super final. FC Porto in second place, and in third position Anderlecht, and vital championship points for Davide Rigon and Girondin de Bordeaux, the Azerty team, first ever super final appearance, and they have won it. Or so they thought, but the stewards saw it differently. Watch on the left-hand side as the cars come down. Girondin should move to the viewer's right of the grid, to his left, but he doesn't. He takes Earl Bamber's position, leaving Earl to start also from the wrong side. But the mistake was Girondin's, and he was penalised by the stewards. A 3-second time penalty dropped him from first to second, so incredibly, fairy tales do come true.
Elle, oh, what an achievement.
Yeah, I can't believe it, you know, it was absolutely crazy at the start. It's been a crazy weekend, and now to finish on the podium, you know, speechless, absolutely speechless. The guys have done a fantastic job.
The guys have done a fantastic job, and so too did Earl Bamber for Porto. But at the top of the championship table, vital points for Anderlecht. Fourth place in that super final means that they have a narrow lead. Still 200 points on offer next time out. In a week from now, they'll be in Beijing. Will Bamber bring his fairy godmother? We'll see you there to find out.